Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. Today we're going to give you a quick demonstration of a new train controller system called DDC. It's an open source platform and it's actually being developed by us here at oorail. So first of all, the DDC system that we're demonstrating today is the 1.0 release, and it is just the track module. So the track module is basically an ESP32, which is a kind of system on a chip controller, which you can see there. It's got the red light on it, and it's attached to an L298N, which is a standard servo motor driver, and we're using that to control the power going to and from the track. There's a 12-volt standard DC power supply that is powering the L298N motorboard, and we have a computer that's powering via USB the ESP32. So the first thing we know is that we've put the ESP32 out this IP address, so we can do a simple web request to check out the module, see if it's there. And you can see here, it's basically telling us the version, a little copyright notice, the license, the IP address of our module. It's telling us that track A is enabled and track B is disabled. So before I run a loco on it, I want to make sure that the profile that's loaded is the correct one. So what I'm going to do is do a little request here for API 1 TM, which is track module, and profile. And you can see here it's telling me that track A has a profile for DAPL. However, I'm going to use a Helsion locomotive, so I'm going to tell it to load the Helsion profile, and then I'm just going to double check that it has loaded the Helsion profile in there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Helsion locomotive. So I'm going to use this one here, and we're going to go put it on the track like so. Just make sure it's on the track properly. Alright, so what we're going to do next is I'm just going to clear the screen here, and then we're going to go and we're going to tell it that we want to use track module 0, which is track A, and then we're going to tell it that we want to check the speed and ask it what the current speed is. And it's going to come back and tell us that the current speed is 0 and the target speed is 0. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go and tell it that we want to bring this thing up to a shunt speed. So we're going to do that command, and then what it's doing is it's basically, if I ask it here, it's currently set the target speed at 700. Now these aren't in miles per hour or anything like that. It's basically just a value that's attached to the profile for this manufacturer. Now I noticed that the Helsion locos and Bachmann locos have kind of an upper or higher value to get moving. Some of the other ones will go at a slightly slower speed. So you can see now that the locomotive has started to move, and it is on the track correctly. So while that's going around, I can go and check the speed, and it comes back and tells me its target speed is 700. So I'm going to go and tell it that I want it to go a little faster. So I'm going to go and tell it to go a little bit faster, and I can check the current speed, and it's now telling me it's going 708. So I actually have a preset on here that's called Coast, and Coast kind of sets a normal kind of running speed. So I'm going to accelerate the loco up to that. Now one of the things that we're working on is specific profiles for the locomotives, but right now it's just kind of a base manufacturer option, but you can modify the code in the source if you want to. It's one of the nice things about it being open sourced. So if you're interested in getting a hold of the code, you can check it out at github.com/oorail. And you can see here the loco is now moving around. One thing you will notice is that the lights on this are at full kind of intensity. So normally when you have a DC powered locomotive, it's going to have the light intensity based on how fast the locomotive is going. So one of the nice things about this particular solution is that your lights will always maintain a consistent kind of level of brightness regardless of the speed. So you can have it going really slow or really fast, and you still won't get that kind of lighting up or lighting down sort of thing. Another cool thing with this is that it's got a 10-bit resolution on the speed control. So I think DCC is about 128. It's a value that you can, speed steps that you can do. With this, you can do 1,023 speed steps. So it's almost kind of 10 times as many speed steps that you get with DCC. So what we're going to do next is when it comes back around, I'm going to show you some of the options that you can do. Right now it's running at a speed of 825. You can also get some status information. So I think if I go here and request status, it will give me, no, maybe it's, yeah, so here you can see it's telling me that track A is brakes off, it's not stopped, it's currently running at this speed, that's the target speed, its coast speed, and its maximum speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tell this thing to stop, and it'll come to a complete halt there, as you've seen. Now one of the cool things with this is I can change the direction. So if I tell it that I want to change the direction of travel, now it by default sets track A to down or up. So I'm going to change it to down, and then it's told me the track direction's changed. And so what I'm going to do now is go back to setting it to shunt speed, and here in a few moments we should be able to see that it's accelerating up. Now obviously what we'll do with some of these profiles is to make it a little bit more responsive once you give it a speed command like this, that it'll speed up from a earlier or higher starting point, because the Hornby locos start really fast, but these particular ones here will start at a much higher speed, so it takes a little while for it to get up to that speed. So you can see here that it's moving this way, and I can change the direction like so, and then I can change it back the other way. I can tell it to slow down. I can switch it back the other way. And you see here it's moving exceptionally slowly. I can try to slow it down a little more. You can see there that I'm just basically giving it different commands to slow down, speed up, and just change direction. Slow it down some more. Switch direction. And then we can ask it how fast you're actually going. So one of the cool things with the speed current thing here is you can use it to tweak the values for different locomotives. And we can see here it's moving really, really slowly, and that's not bad at all considering my track is pretty dirty. So you don't just have to control it from here. You can also control it from your web browser. So if I pull this up and I tell it to stop, you can see there it stopped. I can tell it to change the direction of travel to up, and then I can also go ahead and tell it to go back to its coast speed, which I think is this one. And if you wait a few moments, what will happen is it'll tell us the speed. So do now, obviously, this is not very practical in terms of giving commands via the browser or via the terminal. Ultimately, we will have a mobile app that we currently have under development that will talk to this API from the application, and you'll be able to control things a lot easier. We also can control it from different modules. You can control it from your computer. There'll be various different ways to do it. So what we're going to do next is just give you guys a quick look at some of the other API commands. So if you go, there's an API reference that's up on the on GitHub. It's under the on the README for the oorail system track module, and you can see there it's got a whole bunch of options. There's debug, ping, status. It explains what it does here. We can have different profiles. You can check the speed for different tracks. You can increase and decrease the speed, slow to stop, immediate stop. Some kind of cool features. We've got a crawl, do full speed. We also have a concept of the brake being on versus the brake being off, as well as pushing the brake. So if you want to just apply a kind of a quick brake, slow it down slightly, and then let it resume back to its normal speed, you can do that by using the brake command. In terms of issues, in this current release, which is 1.0, there are two issues that we know about. The ESP32 and ESP32S module can sometimes give you what's called a brownout warning. And so the brownout warning basically causes the CPU to reset and it just kind of sits there and reboots over and over again. This is not actually a problem with the software or the board. It's basically a problem with the amount of power that's being supplied by the USB to the board itself. And so to get around that, you just either use a shorter cable, put it on a different USB port, or put it on a powered USB hub. The only other issue we have in terms of with locomotives is with some Bachmann branch line UK locos. When you use the system, the tail lights, all sets of tail lights will come on regardless of the direction of travel. We're not quite sure what's causing that. I know it's not a problem with the software. I think it might be something to do with the configuration with the Bachmann settings. And so we're going to try to figure that out and figure out a workaround. It's more than likely a problem with the electronics in the Bachmann trains themselves, and we'll try to get around that with some clever programming. So in terms of the project itself, we're going to be doing a monthly software release. So on the first Tuesday of every month, we're going to go in and kick out a new version of the software with all the features that we've been working on for the current month. And we have a couple of ways for you to support the projects. If you really like this and you go, oh, you know, I want to try to help out or whatever, we have a couple of different subscription levels. So we're actually going to do a private build that gets released probably every Tuesday. And so there's different couple of subscription levels where you can pay either $5 or $10 or $25 a month and get access to those, as well as being able to gain access to you know, priority features or bug requests or something like that that you want us to focus on. So there's lots of different opportunities like that for folks to help out with the project and you know, get it moving along a little faster. So what I'm going to do next is just give you a quick look at how to load a different profile for a different logo. And this time I'm going to do it through the browser. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell the track module I want to know what profile is going on. And it's telling me I've got Helsion loaded. So the next logo I'm going to use is I'm going to use this Hornby class 71 that I've got sitting here. So I'm going to go and tell it to load up the Hornby profile. like so. And so now it's told me the Hornby profile is loaded. I'm going to remove this logo from the track, and hopefully this time I'll get this one on the track properly. Leave the pantograph down since. Alright, so that logo is ready to go. So what we're going to do next is basically get a quick status of the track. So it's telling us at speed 0, target speed 0. We're going to go ahead and tell it to speed up to shunt speed, and you'll see that this will move a lot faster. There it goes. So it'll move a lot faster, just I guess the way the Hornby have designed their motors, the electronics and stuff inside the locomotive itself seems to get rolling a little faster than the than some of the other brands. So coming up this week, we're going to be doing some bug fixes to the software itself. There's a couple of minor issues that we discovered. Some of them are already fixed. And so we're going to go and finish up some of those. We have currently the web interface that you're seeing here is very basic. So we're probably going to enhance that a little bit. We're also going to add what's called an asynchronous web server. So right now the web server that's on it can only handle doing one thing at a time, right? So you give it a command, and then until it's processed that command, it won't actually accept any more web requests. That was actually kind of deliberate because we wanted to release this, but then we didn't want people to kind of overload what it's doing. So for example, here I've set the thing to coast. If I go and ask it the speed and current, it should come back with a value. So if I want to tell it to go and speed up to, or slow it down to maybe shunt speed, like so, it's going to do that. And then if I tell it I want to know what the speed current is, it's telling me it's slowing down to that speed there. Now if I all of a sudden tell it to speed up, what it's going to do is it's going to speed up from the last value. It's going to ignore the command I gave it before, which was to go to shunt speed, which was 108. And you'll see here when I load this back up, it'll say it stopped at 144. So what the commands will do is, as long as you give it a command, it'll go off and do that. But then if you give it a new command, it will go and immediately implement that command. And the reason for that is one of the projects that we're going to do is enable you to control it with a knob, basically like a standard train controller. And so if you move that knob and it sends another API command over to the controller, you're going to want that to go into effect right away, you know, just for the responsiveness. And we also thought that, you know, if you're controlling the layout and you suddenly need to give the loco a new command, you want it to respond and react like a regular train. And so by making it responsive like that, it seems to work pretty well. Now the cool thing with this is because it's API based, you can do all sorts of automation. We've got all sorts of really cool things in the pipeline. But for today, we just wanted to give you guys a quick look at the system, show you showing it working basically, and showing you that you can go ahead and check out the code and take a look at it. So so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments about the system, let me know. Check out the code, and if you've got any feature requests, you can go ahead and put the stuff in GitHub. If you check out the readmes in GitHub, as well as our website, which is oorail.co.uk/digital-dc, and I'll put the links in the description below as well, and you can read up more about the project and so on. Alright, so that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed a quick look at this, and if you want to check out the API commands, you can do so. Like I said, there's a list of API commands that are under the track module, so it's oorail system modules and then the oorail-ddc track module directory, and you can see all of the API commands that are currently available there. Now track A and track B should work. We've been doing most of our testing with the track A code. The track B code is just a duplicate of it. There's some comments about you need to wire the polarity for all your tracks the same. So if you've got your left rail is positive and your right rail is negative, you need to do that for both tracks, as the software handles all the polarity and direction and so on. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What we're going to be doing with these videos is, aside from a monthly video that's going to show you the progress, so next month, I think it's the 3rd of March, is a Tuesday, we'll be doing a release which will be 1.1.0, and we'll show you all of the features and changes that have been added to the software over the past month. Throughout the month though, if we add some really cool features, we'll do a quick update video so you can see what's going to be coming up in that 1.1.0 release. And of course, if you want early access to the code, you can check out our paid subscription options and you can get access to those weekly beta tests. Alright, and also if you've been looking for the 15 minutes modeling, those videos will resume tomorrow. I've been kind of focused on this particular project, as well as another 3D printing project that you guys will get to check out soon. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time.